Hello and welcome back to Artemisse Tarot. Thank you for joining me for today's video, in which we will be finding out all about your marriage and married life with your future spouse. This topic is one of your suggestions, and I'm quite excited to jump right into it. We'll be getting an idea of the general energy of your marriage, what blessings and challenges are in store for you, as well as what you and your future spouse will be like within your marriage. These readings are probably going to be quite long and in-depth today, so please get comfortable and maybe have a snack or drink ready. As you can see, we have 4 readings to choose from today. To help you pick, I have some tissue paper flowers. Group 1 has this red and gold flower, which I'm going to call the fire flower. Group 2 has this light yellow and green flower, which I'll be calling the jade flower. Group 3 has this black and gold speckled flower, which I'll call the midnight flower. And group 4 has this pale pink and blue flower, which I'm going to call the cotton candy flower. Please take your time to pick the reading that's calling out to you the most. Feel free to pause the video if you need to. Once you've decided, you can find your timestamp down below, and I will meet you at your reading. This reading is for those of you who have chosen the fire flower. Thank you for joining me for your reading all about your marriage and life with your future spouse. In the first part of the reading, we'll find out about the general energy of your marriage and what blessings and challenges are in store for you and your future spouse. Then in the second part, we'll get into more detail by breaking down what you and your future spouse are like in your marriage to each other, including how you see the marriage, how others around you see it, what you love about your married life, what makes you feel most loved, and what lessons are meant for you in the marriage. Let's begin with this one oracle card that will set the tone for the overall energy of your married life. This could be a general theme, an overarching lesson, or an idea that is particularly strong or important in your marriage with your future spouse. You have acceptance. Wow, right away, I'm getting such a sweet, gentle, wise, and warm energy with this card. There's also a message here which says, I am learning to accept the things that I cannot change. Throughout life, perhaps you or your future spouse may have experienced a sense of feeling lost, unseen, or unaccepted for who you really are. Some of you may feel like you cannot show your truest and fullest self, or that you may struggle with finding a place to feel like you belong. However, within your marriage to your future spouse, you will absolutely receive the acceptance that you have always longed for deep in your heart. Perhaps you felt the connection right away with your person, such that you were comfortable enough to show that real self, and you were able to completely be yourself, and they still love you for all of your flaws, quirks, and imperfections. This could also be a sense of acceptance that you give back to your future spouse as well. You'll make each other feel understood, seen, and accepted. It'll truly be like you are at home within each other's arms and hearts. You accept one another just as much on your bad days as on your good days. You could be wearing a worn-out t-shirt and sweatpants with your hair a complete mess and having not showered for days maybe, but your future spouse still looks at you with the same adoration and love as always. And they make you feel simply at ease. Another thought that comes to mind with this message about accepting things that you cannot change is perhaps a few of you have struggled with being dissatisfied with yourself and disliking or even hating a part of you, your life, or your body. Something about you that you cannot change. Something you are ashamed of, or something that you could never really come to terms with. Your future spouse will help you along your journey to make peace with and eventually accept and even love this thing that you cannot change. Or perhaps this is something your future spouse struggled with, and you'll be the one that shows them they are loved for everything that they are. Either way, there is true understanding and kind acceptance between the two of you. And for a few of you who chose this reading, there could also be a past pattern of wanting to change yourself for the person you like or wanting to change them instead. For example, maybe you always fell for, let's say, the bad boy type that you wanted to fix. Or it could be the opposite, where you try to become someone you're not because it was what you thought the other person wanted. This could have been a reason why those past romantic relationships did not work out. However, this won't happen with your future spouse. You'll understand and come to terms with the fact that you cannot forcibly change someone else, and it's also not your job to do so. Within your marriage, if there's something that you or your person wants to change or improve on, it will be out of your own volition and with your own internal motivation and inspiration. There are also many shades of purple on this acceptance card. Purple is the color of spirituality, mystique, royalty, and luxury. It's also a mix of red, which represents fire and passion, and blue, which is about stability, calmness, and tranquility. So it looks like you and your future spouse will have the best of both worlds within your marriage. You'll have an amazing chemistry, but also you'll have that profound spiritual bond as well. To me, purple reminds me of old souls because it's the last color of the rainbow, and there is a lot of wisdom and intuition tied to this color. Maybe you or your future spouse identifies as an old soul type, or perhaps the two of you were also soulmates in past lives, and so you feel such a strong bond of understanding and acceptance for one another even from day one. I also have these tea leaf cards, which will tell us about some of the blessings as well as the challenges you and your future spouse may experience and share within your marriage. You have the leg with stepping into a new experience, the axe with forces working against you, and also the owl with good advice from a wise person. Starting with a leg card, it could be that for a lot of you watching, the level of connection, love, and magic within your relationship will be something you and your future spouse have never experienced with anyone else before. For most of you, it'll be your first time being married, but even for the few of you who have been married before, it could feel like the first time either of you has felt so powerful and beautiful a connection. As well, the two of you will be experiencing a lot of firsts together in your relationship and throughout your marriage. Maybe you'll be discovering new hobbies or traveling to new places around the world with each other, trying new restaurants, or even taking up salsa dancing maybe. It could be that one of you is a little shy or hesitant toward new experiences in general, but having each other gives you courage to break out of your shell. Looking more closely at this card, we can see that the earth is cracked and dry, but there are these new sprouts that are popping through the barren soil. For some of you watching, this could mean that the circumstances surrounding your relationship and marriage could be difficult. But like these sprouts, your love is strong enough to grow and persist and eventually flourish. Especially paired with the Axe card, talking about forces working against you, it's quite likely that your marriage will not be without challenges. These could be internal forces or external forces that test your connection. One example that comes to mind is maybe at an earlier point in your relationship, one of your families did not approve of you two being together. Or perhaps this could be work or long distance that kept you away from each other. These forces could also be internal struggles like doubt, insecurity, or self-sabotage that could cause several ups and downs within your connection and throughout your married life. However, like we saw with the sprouts that could grow despite the challenging circumstances of the land, your marriage will be able to withstand all these difficulties, and it will grow stronger as you and your future spouse work through problems together and evolve in your personal journeys as well. And since you have the Owl card here, which talks about good advice from a wise person, there will be a lot of guidance to help you along the way. This wise person and advisor could be your own intuition, your higher selves, or even the universe and divine guidance. So when things are tough and you find yourselves facing some difficult trials, listen to your heart and that inner voice. You will have the blessings from the universe which has your back, and things will turn out just the way they were meant to. Now then, let's get more into detail and figure out how you and your future spouse will be like through your relationship and into your married life. For this part of the reading, we will break things down into person 1 and person 2. You may feel free to identify for yourself which person is you and which is your future spouse. And of course, if you seem to resonate with both sides, it's likely that you and your future spouse will be strongly mirroring each other. We will begin with an oracle card to tell us what each person's general energy will be like within your relationship and marriage. For person 1, we have the Potato with grounding. This card has earth energy, and in particular, we have the earth sign Virgo here. So this person may have Virgo or another earth as their sun, moon, rising, or Venus sign. This person, which I will lovingly call the Potato person from now on, is very steadfast and stable, and will provide more of the grounding energy within the marriage. The Potato person will be the dependable and reliable one, and probably really enjoys being a lover, a caretaker, or a provider. This person could be a bit more introverted or somewhat of a homebody who likes to stay in and cuddle and be a couch potato, so to speak. This person may also be a bit stubborn as well, and could tend to be resistant to change. However, interestingly enough, the number on this card is 5, and 5 is all about change and challenge. So this could be indicating that throughout your journey together, the Potato person will come to terms with change and will grow to accept what can and cannot be changed, like we saw with your acceptance card. As well, there are symbols of the moon, the sun, and tarot cards here. The moon is Pisces and the sun is Leo, so this person may have some strong Pisces or Leo influence in their chart as well. Or it could be indicating that our Potato person is someone who is very warm and bright and loving with this sun energy, but also intuitive, mysterious, and spiritual with the moon energy. The oracle card we have for person 2 is the Tomato with the message of love. Wow. Nice and simple and straight to the point. This card has water energy, And I also see the air sign Libra here. So this tomato person may have Libra or a water sign as their sun, moon, rising, or Venus. Of course, this person is very passionate with the red of these tomatoes, but they are also full of soft, gentle, fluid water energy. Water energy is also deep, emotional, and spiritual, so whether each of you realizes it or not, both the potato person and the tomato person are quite intuitive, and you two definitely share a divine and high-level bond. The tomato may be slightly more spontaneous and someone who is more used to showing how they are feeling, so they could be the one who guides the emotional development and pace within the relationship. This tomato card is the number 30, so this person may identify with the number 3 or have life path number 3. 3 is also about expansion and creation, so within the marriage, the tomato may be the one who often inspires the potato to step out of their shell and explore and broaden their horizons. And like we saw earlier with your leg card, the tomato person could be the one who encourages the potato to step into these new experiences. There's also a drawing of a bottle of love potion on this card, and there could be a few different interpretations for this symbol. It may be indicating that your first meeting could have been going out for drinks or chatting over coffee. It may also be that there was such strong and instant attraction at first sight on your or your future spouse's part that it was almost as if you were under the persuasion of a love potion. I also want to mention that there is a strong sense you and your future spouse are definitely soulmates or part of the same soul family, because the words potato and tomato follow the same pattern of letters. And if you look closely at the Latin nomenclature, they are both in the genus Solanum. With the 5 and the 30, May 30th could be a significant date for some of you, or it could be the month of May or the 30th of a certain month. 30 could also be an age. This could be one of your ages at your first meeting, or when you first get together, when you get married, or during another significant step of your journey together. Moving on to some tarot cards now, we'll first find out how each person sees and feels about your marriage and about each other. For the potato, we have the Justice card. And for the tomato, there is the Call. Wow, again, there's some mirroring here because the Justice and the Call, which is the equivalent to the Judgment card, are actually companion cards because the digits in the numbers 11 and 20 both add up to 2. It's clear that you both feel each other is the perfect partner and you were meant for one another. The potato person thinks the marriage is balanced in that perhaps your strengths and weaknesses perfectly complement each other, or maybe one of you is very masculine while the other is quite feminine. So when you come together, you have the best of both worlds and things just flow so naturally. The Justice card is also the Libra card, and we actually saw Libra energy for our tomato person. So it's quite clear that the potato is sincerely dedicated and devoted to the tomato and deeply in love. The Justice card also represents responsibility, logic, and making decisions, which means the potato could be the more practical and reasonable one, which does make sense with their grounded earth energy. More importantly, though, I think this Justice card represents how the potato is with the tomato by choice. They choose to give their heart and life to the tomato, and they choose to love, cherish, and be there for the tomato every day. Similarly, The Call card talks about making a decision and being true to yourself and finding your calling. It also represents awakening, purpose, and acceptance. So again, there's confirmation and recurrence for the acceptance theme. Just like how the potato chooses to be with the tomato also chooses the potato. For some of you watching, I get the feeling that perhaps the potato person is not the type that the tomato would usually fall for. Maybe the two of you are quite different, and people could even say that the tomato is out of the potato's league. However, the tomato knows in their heart that the potato is absolutely the one they are destined to be with, and the tomato isn't afraid to make sure everyone understands this. The tomato sees the potato for all that they are and knows that they are a wonderful match for each other. And within the marriage, the tomato person feels safe and comfortable to be their true and complete self, and they know that they chose the right person as their spouse and partner. The tomato sees the potato as such a blessing and never stops reminding the potato of the strength of their bond and the true depth of their love. Perhaps words of affirmation could be one of your or your person's top love languages, because the Call card is about speaking your truth loudly and clearly and shouting it out for the universe to hear. There is also a sense of renewal and rebirth with this card, and this makes a lot of sense with the new experiences message from before. The tomato sees the marriage as always lively with passionate, creative, and fresh energy. Even after you've married and grown old together, there are still things that will intrigue and surprise you and your future spouse about each other. In other words, you will never lose that excitement and spark. And like I mentioned before, it seems for a lot of you who chose this reading, you and your future spouse could be quite different in many aspects. And as such, you two coming together into each other's lives means expanding horizons for both people. I am really liking the energy within your marriage. It's lovely how you two fit each other so perfectly, and the chemistry and connection is straight out of a fairy tale. But it's also real and tangible and complete with challenges and lessons. The key is that both of you are on the same page, and you make a wonderful team with the same mindset that if life throws you lemons, you can make some sweet, sweet lemonade. Next, we will ask about how the people around you will see and feel about your marriage. These could be your side of the family, your close friends and your peers, as well as your future spouse's family, friends, and peers. This could also give us some clues as to how your future spouse talks about you to their close circle and how you will talk about them to yours. We have the Ace of Earth for the potato and the 8 of Air for the tomato. I have to say this makes a lot of sense with the messages we were getting earlier. The Ace of Earth talks about prosperity, stability, and new opportunities. So the potato's family, friends, and peers seem to really love, respect, and admire the tomato. They think that the tomato is a wonderful and abundant person who brings the potato a lot of new beginnings and new experiences. They might say that the potato's eyes light up when they talk about the tomato, and it's clear to the potato's close circle that the tomato is the absolute love of their life. However, there could be a bit of an antagonism toward the relationship from the tomato's family, friends, and peers, because this 8 of Air, which is the equivalent of the 8 of Swords, talks about a feeling of being restricted or trapped. In the traditional Rider-Waite deck, the imagery on the 8 of Swords shows a person who is bound up and blindfolded. This could suggest that the tomato's family and friends think the tomato is being held back by the potato. And maybe they think that the tomato is blinded by love. On this card, we can see this angel who is looking down below the cloud she's on. So this gives me the feeling that perhaps the tomato's people are worried that the tomato is settling for the potato who they see as on a lower level. Maybe they think the potato is less financially established, or has lower academic achievements, or is in some way not good enough for the tomato. This energy does make sense with what we saw previously in your reading, because we did get the message that you may have forces working against your relationship. I don't feel that these people are coming from a position of negative intention though. It's probably that they are just very protective of the tomato, or think the tomato is an absolute prize, so they don't want the tomato to be with anyone who won't do them justice. In fact, it could very well be that the tomato's family and friends acted like this toward all the tomato's previous love interests, with the intention to protect or filter out the weak who cannot withstand this pressure. However, considering how you two feel about each other and what we understand about the depth of bond within this connection, I'm quite sure that this opposition from these people will not be able to break you apart. In fact, it probably acts to further strengthen your partnership, because it will be you and your future spouse as a team against the world and whoever and whatever may try to get in your way. In this case, the potato is likely the first person who actually will withstand the pressure from the tomato's family. And I get the sense that the potato will eventually earn the respect of the tomato's family and friends, because the person on this 8 of Air is not blindfolded, and these feathers are falling away. This could be a representation of the disapproval and opposition from the tomato's people falling away one by one as the potato continues to show that they are indeed a wonderful match for each other. The potato will not give up on the tomato, no matter how strong the forces against the relationship may be. At this point, I also want to mention that if you are identifying with this potato person, do not be afraid of this opposition that may come from the tomato's family and friends. It can sound a bit daunting and scary to not have the approval of your future spouse's loved ones, even if it's only at first, but your future spouse will be on your side, so you'll definitely not feel like you're fighting the battle alone. These next cards will answer for us what each of you loves the most about your married life and about each other. For the potato person, we have the Page of Earth. And for the tomato, there is the 8 of Fire. This is actually one of my favorite cards in this particular deck. I love its energy, and I love when it comes out, especially for love readings. But let's start with the Page of Earth. This card talks about a feeling of being grounded, practical, stable, but since it's the page, there's also an air of newness, freshness, and something bright and exciting. As we saw earlier, our potato is the kind of person who is more used to structure and stability, and maybe a bit reluctant or resistant toward change and trying new things. However, in this relationship and marriage, the potato feels inspired to expand and step out into the world. What the potato appreciates most about this partnership is that there's a beautiful balance of the safety and comfort of feelings of security, as well as a new and fresh perspective. The potato feels safe to grow and evolve and break out of their shell. The potato also feels safe to try new things as well, because they know that even if they fail, at the end of the day, they will always have the tomato to come home to. On the other hand, for the tomato person, what they love the most about the marriage is represented by this 8 of Fire. I mentioned that this is one of my favorite cards in this deck because the energy of this image in particular is so soft and warm and familiar, but also mysterious and exciting and powerful. The 8 of Fire is the equivalent to the 8 of Wands, which represents forward momentum, passion, and action. For love readings, it talks about a whole lot of love and sex and magic rushing in like a tidal wave. In this respect, this card represents how our tomato loves that you both are in love within this relationship and marriage. And for a few of you, this could mean that you may have progressed rather quickly in your journey and everything felt like a whirlwind of love and romance. But with the special energy of this card in particular, there are so many extra layers to it, such as that beautiful blend of fire and mystique, but also comfort and familiarity. So again, there's some mirroring between the two of you with this balance of excitement and stability. Although the potato is more based on the grounded earth energy, and the tomato is more based in this passionate fire energy, both people appreciate that there is a balance of both. Also, I'm just noticing that the Page of Earth card looks like it's during dawn, and the 8 of Fire looks like dusk. So if it isn't clear by now, like dawn and dusk, you and your future spouse are more of the complementary type where opposites attract. It doesn't mean that you are totally on opposite ends of the spectrum, though. It could simply be your differences fitting well together, which allows you to open each other's eyes toward new perspectives. And while you two are different in your own ways, you both love this polarity that attracts you to each other. And as you spend more time together, you may slowly start to realize that you two are actually quite similar in more ways than you initially thought. And finally, these last tarot cards will tell us what makes each of you feel the most loved within the marriage. For the potato, we have the Sun. Wow, that's really beautiful. And for the tomato, we have the Love card. Again, nice and simple and straight to the point. First off, both these cards are major arcana, and they are wonderful cards to come out for love readings. The Love card in this deck is the equivalent to the Lovers in traditional tarot. Usually the Lovers card is Gemini, but I'm seeing the Leo sign right here. And there's also a lion on this image. This is particularly significant because the potato person got the Sun, which is the ruler of Leo. So again, there's some mirroring energy between the two of you. Starting with the Sun here, which represents enlightenment, understanding, joy, happiness, assurance, and also warmth. The potato feels incredibly loved within the marriage because they know they are understood, seen, and again accepted for all that they are. Also, since the Sun is such a central part of our solar system, it's likely that the potato feels very valued and cherished by the tomato. Perhaps the tomato is usually the one that shines brightly and is seen by others as extremely attractive and magnetizing, but the tomato makes the potato feel this way within the marriage. The potato may have always felt like a diamond in the rough that cannot shine the brilliance that it innately possesses, but it is the continuous warmth and love from the tomato that polishes the potato and lets them realize their own inner power and turn them into the gem that they were meant to be. On the other side, this Love card indicates that the loving bond between the two of you is what makes the tomato person feel the most loved. This bond is so special in a physical, emotional, mental, and even spiritual way, and it makes the tomato's heart feel so full and nourished. The lion also represents strength and courage, so while the potato thinks it's the tomato who gives them strength, the tomato feels it is also the potato who gives them strength and courage as well. Looking at this card, I get the sense that this tomato person may have physical touch as one of their top love languages for how they give love or how they receive love. This probably means that the physical connection and chemistry is totally undeniable and explosive within your connection and marriage. But it can also be simple acts of physical touch, such as holding hands, hugs, or pressing your foreheads against one another's and savoring that moment of communication without words. This card could also be saying that the tomato loves the way the potato loves them. And even if the potato thinks that they are not that special or not particularly good at being a lover, the tomato thinks the potato is just absolutely their perfect match. The way the potato shows love to the tomato is somehow exactly what the tomato deeply desires. Perhaps the tomato has very high standards for love, and no one previously has been able to meet these high standards. The tomato may even have given up on trying to check off all the boxes on their list, but then the potato comes along, and it's almost as if this potato has read the tomato's mind on what they want in love. And so the potato does everything all naturally, and even without realizing it. All in all, everything the potato does for the tomato makes the tomato feel so very loved. And if you are this potato person and you ever come to a point where you're feeling doubt and thinking you're not good enough for your tomato, know that in your tomato's eyes, you are everything they want and more. This is such a wonderful connection, and it really looks like your marriage to your future spouse will be full of sparks and magic. I'm even feeling a little bit out of breath from the exciting and powerful energy between the two of you. Now, last but certainly not least, we will end with some oracle cards to give us insight into what your marriage will help you and your future spouse to learn and how it will help the two of you to grow. For the potato, we have discipline with the message, I can accomplish what I set my mind to. And for the tomato, we have the judgment card with the message, I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. For the potato, there are two distinct ideas that are coming to mind with this card. One idea is that perseverance and continuing to put in disciplined effort is key in achieving your goals, and the other is the concept of manifestation and creating your reality with your mind and intentions. If you do identify with this potato person, it could be that you have had many difficult times during which love and life goals were not coming to you the way you had hoped. For example, maybe you have had a streak of bad luck or even no luck with love. Or it could have been that your education or career goals were not being met. For others of you, it could be the kind of life or love you have been manifesting kept not coming to you, and no matter how hard you tried, it just didn't come. For the potato person, your marriage will help you to regain empowerment and a feeling of agency, because continuing to be disciplined in investing in yourself and in your inner shadow work will help you to accomplish and manifest what you set your mind to. Also, I feel inspired to mention that all relationships, be it your relationship with your future spouse, your relationship with your friends and family, or your relationship with yourself, requires continued discipline and effort in order to grow. Marriage is a choice. It's choosing each other and choosing to continue to better yourself. Now for the tomato, we have judgment. First of all, the tomato had the call before, which is the equivalent to the judgment card in traditional tarot. So here is yet another reiteration of this message, and of course we love when cards confirm each other. The idea this card brings is that the tomato person will be able to learn to manage harsh, unconstructive judgment. This could be with regard to judging others or judging the self. Instead of judgment, the tomato person will learn acceptance, which was the overarching theme of our reading. It could be that the tomato may have judged or misjudged the potato when they first met, or this could be speaking to the way that the tomato's family and friends may have judged the potato. But if the tomato had gone on based on this initial judgment or prejudice and had not given the potato a chance, there never would have been this wonderful, beautiful relationship and marriage. For some of you watching, there could also be a message regarding judging the self or being hard on oneself with this card. If you identify with the tomato person, it could be that you see yourself as a bit of a perfectionist, or you have always had high expectations for yourself. Your marriage with potato will help you to breathe a little easier and release some of the burdens you have placed on yourself in the form of these high expectations, which may be unrealistic or even impossible to achieve. The potato will love you even with all your self-perceived flaws, and the relationship will help you to learn to accept that it's okay to be not okay from time to time, because everyone is on their own unique path with their own unique challenges. I also want to mention that both these cards are reiterating the shades of purple we saw in your acceptance card. So here we've come full circle, and there's definitely a lot of divine guidance for this marriage. You and your future spouse's paths were meant to be intertwined together. Those are all the messages I have for you today, and I had a lot of fun doing this reading for you and hope that you enjoyed it as well. Absolutely feel free to claim all the messages you would like, and please remember this is a general reading, so don't worry if not every single message was for you. Also, as always, I want to remind you that we all have the power to shape our own destinies. So please feel empowered, because if there is something you don't like in your reading, trust that you do have the power to influence and change it. Please let me know in the comments below if things resonated for you, and please feel free to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, take care, and I will see you in the next one. This reading is for those of you who were drawn to the Jade flower. Thank you for joining me for your reading all about your marriage and life with your future spouse. In the first portion of this reading, we'll find out about the general energy of your marriage and the blessings and challenges that are meant for you and your future spouse. In the second portion, we'll get more into detail to break down what both you and your future spouse will be like in your marriage, including how you see the marriage, how others around you see it, what you love about your married life, what makes you feel most loved, and what lessons are meant for you in this journey together. First, we have one oracle card that will tell us about an important overall energy of your married life. This could be a theme, an overarching lesson, or a concept that is particularly significant within your marriage. You got balance with the message, I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. I really like this message that we're starting off with. There are a few ways this card can be interpreted for your marriage. For one, it could be suggesting that you and your future spouse will really be well matched for each other. And in this respect, it could be that you are quite similar. For example, maybe you are both high-achieving people and together you make the perfect power couple. Or it could be that you're actually complementary, such that you have your differences, but these differences make you two even better together. It could also be that one of you is quite masculine while the other is feminine. You are polar opposites, but it makes you two both very attracted to each other, and as a couple, you are a harmonious pair. This card could also mean that within your marriage, things will feel very fair and equal. The two of you both feel that you are contributing equally to the marriage, and the contributions as well as the rewards are shared fairly. It doesn't have to be a perfect 50-50 split between the two of you, of course, but both people will feel like they're able to give and receive just the right amount. It'll be like you are puzzle pieces that fit exactly into each other. As well, it's likely that your marriage will be quite peaceful in that you will rarely have fights. Sure, you may have disagreements or argue, but instead of pitting yourselves against each other, it will be very respectful and mature discussions, and the two of you will be able to work through your issues as a team. Another interpretation for this concept of balance is the idea that the relationship will have a bit of everything. It'll be made up of a healthy dose of fun, excitement, chemistry, passion, as well as stability, security, connection, and everything else that makes a marriage last. Similarly, there will also be the right amount of challenges and lessons that will help your relationship continue to grow and evolve. Looking more closely at the message on this card, there is an emphasis on the idea of releasing judgment. For many of you who picked this group, it could be that either you, your future spouse, or both of you could be dealing with issues with being judgmental or being judged by others. Or it could be that you have a strong tendency for bias or stubbornness when it comes to perspectives that differ from your own. In this respect, your relationship and your marriage with your future spouse will be your safe place free from judgment. This judgment could also refer to someone being very critical of their own self. For example, you or your future spouse may have issues with self-worth and with believing that you are good enough. This connection will be a source of encouragement and confirmation for you that you are indeed good enough, and it will help to teach you to be kind to yourself. Next, let's take a look at these tea leaf cards, which will tell us about some of the noteworthy blessings as well as challenges that you and your future spouse may experience within this marriage. There is the door with the message, "Opportunities are waiting for you." The table with "Hard work ahead." And also the shield with "You need to defend yourself." To be completely honest, I am getting the feeling that your love journey will definitely have its fair share of challenges. But I do feel that you and your future spouse will have the inner wisdom and the depth of connection to build strong foundations, which will grow into something amazing. You may start off with a lot of difficulties, but you will be rewarded generously for your hard work later on. You and your future spouse will not have everything handed to you on a silver platter, and things will not just fall from the sky for you. Instead, you two will build your relationship and marriage from scratch and turn it into something that can endure a lifetime. It's like you and your future spouse are the first settlers of a new uncultivated land. At first, there will be nothing. Perhaps the land is barren and resources are scarce, but you two will have the skill, strength, and motivation to create everything from the ground up. And all your achievements will be the result of your blood, sweat, and tears. Eventually, the two of you will establish your empire, and there will be so much success and abundance. To translate this analogy into a real-life example, it could be that perhaps you, your future spouse, or even both of you did not have a lot of love growing up. Maybe many of the people around you experienced difficult or failed relationships, so you lacked role models for a successful marriage, or maybe you did not even believe in true love. Possibly one or both of you might have had little or no experience with romantic relationships prior to your meeting, so at the beginning it could be rather challenging to navigate the unknown waters, and things might sometimes feel like you are lost or fumbling in the dark. For a few of you, this could even mean there may be some separation in your relationship, though most likely any phase of separation would be likely during your dating relationship before you get married. Regardless, you and your future spouse will not give up on each other, and you will be able to create a wonderful connection together through learning about yourselves and about each other. There will be lots of opportunities since we have the door card, but you can see that the door is drawn as closed, which reflects the challenges you could face to first open the door in order to reach those opportunities. As well, the table here is talking about hard work ahead, and if we look at this image, it appears there are lots of cracks on this beautiful, intricate table, almost as if it was broken into many fragments and was pieced back together, which absolutely sounds like a lot of hard work. Maybe this table represents one of you and your inner struggles. Perhaps you see yourself as broken or in need of repair, or you could even have started off in pieces. However, by investing time, effort, and heart into yourself and doing your own shadow work, you will be able to glue yourself back together and even come out stronger, especially with each other's support. These crack lines actually remind me of the Japanese art of kintsugi, which translates to golden joinery. It is a technique used to mend broken pottery by using lacquers mixed with gold. The end result is gorgeous and one of a kind and does not hide the crack lines. Instead, the gold-filled cracks make the piece even more beautiful, and the fact that the evidence of being at one point broken is proudly honored and on display reminds us that our scars that have healed need not be hidden in shame. They are signs of overcoming challenges and of growth. Your marriage with your future spouse will be that safe place for both of you to heal your wounds into golden scars. And with the shield card here, I get the feeling that you will be each other's protector. You'll keep each other safe and nourish each other as you heal, grow, and create together. This shield also makes me think of divine protection. So even when things do get tough, one significant blessing for your marriage will be that the universe is on your side. As for the message about needing to defend yourself, I don't think it's referring to you and your future spouse defending yourselves from each other. Instead, it would be the two of you defending your kingdom together. For example, your marriage may face challenges such as work getting in the way, family difficulties, or even those inner demons that make you question whether you're worthy of such a beautiful love and seduce you towards self-sabotage or running away. This card is reminding you that you need to listen to your heart and to stand behind your feelings. There's also what looks to be two little fish on this shield, which makes me think of Pisces. Pisces is a soft and mutable water sign, and it's open-hearted and open-minded. So this could be a message that for a lot of you watching, you and your future spouse will be gentle with each other and love one another tenderly with profound emotion and a deep spiritual bond. Now that we have a general understanding of your marriage, let's get more into detail and figure out how you and your future spouse will be like throughout your relationship and into married life. For this part of the reading, we'll break things down into person 1 and person 2. Feel free to identify for yourself which side is you and which is your future spouse. If you find that you resonate with both sides, it likely means that you and your future spouse are mirroring each other. We will begin with an oracle card to tell us what each person's general energy is like inside your marriage. Person 1 has the Peppermint with a message of success. This card is a fire energy card, so perhaps this person has a fire sign such as Aries, Leo, Sagittarius as their sun, moon, rising, or Venus. I also see Libra here, so this could also be one of the significant signs for this person. The number on this card is 20, and the digits add to 2, which means this person may be a life path 2. 2 is about harmony and union and partnership. So whether you consciously are aware or not, this person is likely someone who believes in soulmates and who really deeply desires a beautiful partnership and marriage. 20 may also be a birth date or a notable date within your relationship. From now on, we'll call this person the Peppermint. It's clear that the Peppermint will be usually seen and respected as someone who's quite successful. This could be success with regard to work, academics, love, or any other aspect of life. In your marriage, this person is quite bold and passionate, and they could have a refreshing personality, or they're someone with a bright outlook on life. The peppermint is an herb that grows well with minimal effort, and it is incredibly adaptable and can easily propagate such that if you plant one in your garden and forget about it, it may take over the whole field the next time you look. This peppermint person likely has a great eye for spotting opportunities and does not give up easily. Within the marriage, this person is also very adaptable and can seem to handle whatever problem comes their way. The peppermint will definitely be a strong ally, especially during the challenging phases within your relationship and marriage. There's also an image of a key on this card, which could be what unlocks this closed door that we saw earlier. This key could represent insight, intuition, wisdom, or skills that will be crucial for the growth and evolution of your relationship and marriage. With fire energy, the peppermint will not be shy to show affection in the relationship and throughout your married life together. They are probably rather straightforward with expressing their love and desire for their spouse, and they're a very charming, devoted, and skilled lover. For person 2, we have the sweet corn with ritual and a drawing of an incense holder. This card has earth energy, and also there is Leo here as well. The sweet corn person may have an earth sign or Leo as one of their sun, moon, rising, or Venus signs. And the number on this card is 10, which is all about completion, wholeness, and fulfillment. 10 is also made up of 1 and 0. 0 represents infinite possibilities, and 1 represents new beginnings and creation. Looking at both the message and the meaning of the numbers, it's likely that this sweet corn person is someone who is innately rather spiritual, whether they're consciously aware or not. With the number 10 being completion, it could indicate that the sweet corn understands the bigger picture in life, which is made up of the tangible as well as the intangible, the physical and also what lies above and beyond. With the 1 and 0, it could be that the sweet corn is tuned in to the power of manifestation and the endless possibilities and blessings that the universe can grant. The sweet corn may even have manifested their future spouse, and within the marriage, the sweet corn is probably the more insightful or intuitively connected one. With the word ritual, I'm thinking of the creation of traditions that are unique to your marriage, as well as self-care rituals that are important to replenish each person as an individual. So, in your marriage, the sweet corn could help to remind the peppermint that each one needs their own space, and in order for the relationship to be healthy, this space should be respected. However, I do get the feeling that the sweet corn could be a bit more on the shy side, especially compared to the fiery passion of the peppermint. The corn is wrapped up in many layers of husks, so this could mean that this sweet corn person may be timid or a bit harder to get close to. Maybe in previous romantic experiences, they pushed others away or put up walls to protect their heart. For a few of you watching who may experience a separation phase in your relationship, this sweet corn person could be the one who is more likely to retreat or pull away. This person may have a pre-established pattern of self-sabotage when a relationship starts getting real due to a fear for change or a desire to protect from the risk of heartbreak, pain, and loss. But when the peppermint comes along and has the patience and connectedness to peel back all these layers of defense, the sweet corn's golden kernels are revealed, and they are sweet, nourishing, and delicious. If you identify with this shyness of the sweet corn, you may even be a little insecure about this shyness. But your peppermint person actually finds it really endearing and adorable. Because within the relationship, the peppermint feels very loved and special, knowing the sweet corn, who is usually timid or reluctant to let their walls down, trusts the peppermint enough to let them in and share their heart of gold. The grounded and calming earth energy of the sweet corn is also very comforting and assuring for the peppermint. I actually really love the combination of fire and earth energies within this marriage, especially since you could have a lot of challenges in your relationship journey, particularly toward the beginning. So having the stability of earth and the spark and passion of fire will be the perfect combination to make it through periods of difficulty together. Moving on to some tarot cards now, we will first find out how each of you sees and feels about your marriage and each other. For the peppermint, we have the King of Air. And for the sweet corn, we have the Queen of Air. Wow, like we saw earlier with the message of balance, it's very clear that the two of you balance each other out perfectly. Both of you are coming through with this air energy, so this means you two are both on the same page and will see eye to eye when it comes to how you view and feel about this marriage. Air energy is about clarity and communication. In your marriage, you will both feel seen and heard and respected by the other, and you and your future spouse will both know that you are each other's perfect match. Don't worry about the gender of the king and the queen and whether you identify as more the masculine or the feminine, because the main point the cards want to make by coming out as a set like this is that you and your future spouse, like this king and queen of air, are a divine matching pair. Air energy is also about the mind, thoughts, and logic. Like I mentioned earlier, it's likely that you and your person are both very smart or intellectual, and when you do get together, you will be the ultimate power couple. It could also be that you connect especially well on an intellectual level and find each other so interesting and intriguing, and you can always teach each other new things. Often we mention the downside of being up in your head and overthinking when it comes to love. However, in your case, I feel that this air energy is bringing up the important reality that love and marriage are not just about feelings and heart. Relationships and marriage are a choice that each partner makes. Both you and your spouse choose each other and choose to be in the marriage together. You choose to invest in each other and you choose to invest in the connection. On top of the love and connection, making a relationship and marriage work is also dependent on logistics and compatibility. Knowing and understanding this concept shows a lot of wisdom and maturity on your part. And while there will definitely be passion, connection, and love, both of you will see each other as logistically each other's perfect partner as well. For example, you will have the same core values and harmonious views on your principles for the things that matter. From a practical standpoint, your biorhythms could match well, which means your individual habits and living preferences could fit in a very complementary manner. Maybe you are both early risers, for example, or both night owls, and you appreciate that your schedules match up. Or it could be the opposite, such that you are a night person while your spouse is an early bird, or vice versa. And it works out perfectly as well, because when one person goes to bed early, the other can enjoy a lot of quiet time to do some reading or work on a hobby or journal and do introspection. On the other hand, one of you might wake up early and use the time to work out or take a walk and spend time with the inner self while the other sleeps in. It's also likely that the way you two recreate will be similar, such that both people will feel relaxed and recharged. And for those of you who do want children, you will have aligned views on how you want to raise them. All in all, I feel a lot of peace, balance, and maturity in how the two of you will see and feel about your marriage, which is further assurance for how while the start of your relationship journey could be rocky or challenging, you will be rewarded with so much fulfillment and abundance and peace for all of your hard work. Next, we will ask about how those around each person will see and feel about your marriage. These could be your family, your close friends, and your peers, as well as your future spouse's family, friends, and peers. This could also give us a feel for how your future spouse talks about you to their family and friends, and how you talk about them to yours. For the peppermint, we have the Page of Fire, which is the equivalent to the Page of Wands. And for the sweet corn, we have the Magician. The Page of Fire is about creativity, passion, charisma, and enthusiasm. Similarly, the Magician is also creation, inspiration, confidence, and manifestation. It's funny, while we can tell that the personalities of the peppermint and the sweet corn are quite different, it seems that the way the peppermint's close circle feels about the sweet corn is rather similar to how the sweet corn's close circle feels about the peppermint. There is a lot of positive energy on both sides, so it's clear that both people's family and friends will really like the other person. Specifically with the Page of Fire, I feel that the peppermint's family and friends see the sweet corn as a breath of fresh air. There is a new and youthful vigor about the Page of Fire, and I get an energy of mystery and playfulness from this card, which is quite different from the usually grounded or even shy persona of the sweet corn. This makes me think it's likely that the peppermint always talks about how adorable, alluring, and intriguing they find their sweet corn to be, which is why the peppermint's close circle gets the impression of this beautiful little magical fairy creature. On the other side, the sweet corn's family and friends see the peppermint as this magician. This can be interpreted in several ways. for several of you, this could be indicating that the sweet corns people believe the peppermint plays a crucial part in helping the sweet corn to transform and evolve into this beautiful Queen of Air energy. Before, the sweet corn was more timid and guarded, but through this relationship and marriage to the peppermint, the sweet corn's husks are drawn away and the golden kernels are able to shine. For others of you, another interpretation of this card is that the sweet corn's family and friends see the peppermint as the perfect partner that the sweet corn has always wanted to manifest. With this card in particular, I get the feeling that when the sweet corn talks about the peppermint to their close circle, there's a spark in the sweet corn's eye and so much confidence and fondness and love, which makes it so obvious to their family and friends that the sweet corn is completely head over heels for the peppermint. For both people, there's definitely a lot of support and approval for this relationship and marriage from family and friends. These next cards will answer for us what each of you loves the most about your marriage and each other. For the peppermint person, we have the Chariot. And for the sweet corn, there is the Ten of Earth. Both these cards represent amazing energy. The Chariot is about victory, conquest, and triumph over obstacles, which makes so much sense with what we saw earlier about how the relationship could start off with many challenges. In particular, the success and abundance represented by the Chariot is from willpower, discipline, and forward movement. So this says that the peppermint really loves and appreciates how you two will build your own empire together from the ground up. All the bitter blood, sweat, and tears will bring such sweet and fulfilling fruit, and the peppermint loves that your marriage is the proof and reward for your combined effort, faith, and commitment. The Chariot is also the Cancer card, so there's a lot of deep, connected emotion here as well. The peppermint cherishes the fact that this marriage is founded upon the true love between the two of you. I really like the Chariot card because it talks about a go and get what you want kind of attitude from Cancer, which is usually a soft and gentle energy. It makes me think of a love so strong that even the soft and gentle Cancer feels the passion and drive and motivation to conquer their fears and claim the person they love. This could also be indicating that the peppermint really loves how within this marriage and relationship, the usually shy and timid sweet corn feels the urge and courage to claim them. For example, perhaps when others compete for the peppermint's attention, the sweet corn will turn uncharacteristically bold and make sure everyone knows that the peppermint is theirs. And this makes the peppermint feel very loved and adored. For the sweet corn, there is the Ten of Earth, which represents abundance, completion, success as a result of long-term effort, and also satisfaction. Similar to how the peppermint loves that the marriage is living, breathing proof of success from your hard work and commitment, the sweet corn feels the same. Again, we can see that the two of you are on the same page. The Ten of Earth also talks about health and wealth. And this wealth could represent financial abundance, but also it could refer to being rich in other things like love and happiness and fulfillment. The sweet corn finds the peppermint to be a wonderful and caring provider and feels that the peppermint can satisfy them with respect to their emotional, intellectual, spiritual, and of course physical needs. The earth energy and the number 10 are also reminiscent of the energy and number we saw from the sweet corn card. This shows that the sweet corn loves that the marriage gives them a strong sense of comfort, familiarity, safety, and security. As we saw from before, the idea of feeling whole and complete is very important to the sweet corn, and they really treasure that this relationship and marriage to the peppermint is one important source that nourishes this feeling of wholeness and completion. Finally, these last two tarot cards will tell us what makes each person feel the most loved within the marriage and about one another. For the peppermint, we have the Hanged Man, and for the sweet corn, there is the Ace of Water. The Hanged Man card is ruled by the planet Neptune, so both these cards are water energy, and water is about emotion, love, and spiritual connection. Again, there is confirmation that both of you are on the same page, in that each person feels a lot of love from the other, from the marriage, and from the depth of your romantic and spiritual bond. For the peppermint in particular, the Hanged Man represents emotional release, surrendering to experience and new perspectives. For many of you watching, this suggests that the peppermint feels most loved because the sweet corn trusts them enough to surrender control, take off their protective armor, and connect so intimately and vulnerably with the peppermint. Similarly, the peppermint also feels this freedom and safety to release their own shackles and love and live and exist in a way that is truly authentic. The image on this card reminds me of Icarus in Greek mythology, who fell because he flew too close to the sun, which melted his wings made of wax and feathers. The story warns us to not be overambitious because we may bite off more than we can chew. However, I don't get a sense of loss or panic from the Icarus on this card. And if you look closely, he is actually held up by a golden string here, and it even looks like the sun in the image is sending out these rays, which help to hold him securely. The gold yellow of the sun reminds me of the golden kernels of the sweet corn, and the fact that this sun's rays are keeping this person from falling gives me the sense that the peppermint trusts that the sweet corn will never let them down. And so the peppermint dares to dream big and achieve. The peppermint feels safe to surrender and just bask in the sweet corn's sunshine. For the sweet corn, the Ace of Water talks about overflowing, everlasting love. The Ace of Water can also represent the first stirring of deep emotion, so it could mean that for some of you, the sweet corn will feel this kind of profound, beautiful love for the first time when they unite with the peppermint. Also, looking at the image of the seahorse who is holding onto this pearl so tightly, I get the sense that the sweet corn feels very cherished and treasured and adored by the peppermint. Perhaps the peppermint is quite protective of the sweet corn, and this makes the sweet corn feel valued, important, and loved as well. On the other hand, the ability to give love to the peppermint is another thing that makes the sweet corn feel loved. Because as we saw, the sweet corn could be a bit more shy, and being able to step out of their shell and express love with confidence, courage, and passion, and have their love be received so graciously and appreciatively by the peppermint, probably gives the sweet corn a boost of empowerment and a feeling of being proud of themselves. I really do like the progression of your journey with your future spouse in this marriage. We saw that it's likely you two will face some difficulties with your relationship, especially toward the beginning. There could even be a separation for a few of you, particularly during the dating phase. However, once you come into union and build your marriage, you become such wonderful partners who are on the same page on so many different levels, and who match and balance each other out so well. Now then, last but not least, let's take these last two oracle cards to give us some insight into what your marriage will help you and your future spouse to learn and how it will help you grow in your relationship and as individuals. For the peppermint, there is gratitude with the message, I am thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. And for the sweet corn, we have loneliness with the message, I know that I am never alone. We saw that success was a big part of the peppermint's identity, and while results are important, being too focused on the outcome could make us lose sight of the beauty of the journey itself. Perhaps the peppermint was always used to succeeding and achieving, but when the beginning of the relationship with the sweet corn proved to be difficult and challenging, it may have been quite a change of pace for the peppermint. There is a mention of being thankful for opportunities, which reminds me of the opportunities that were difficult to reach behind the closed door in our tea leaf card. Through this marriage, the peppermint person will learn to appreciate even the opportunities that brought tough times and taught hard lessons. The peppermint will realize that working hard to achieve success often can bring a lot more appreciation and gratitude when the success is attained. This card also reflects how extremely grateful the peppermint is to have the sweet corn as their partner and spouse. For the sweet corn, the important lesson is that you are worthy and capable of that beautiful love you have always dreamed of. Perhaps in the past, the sweet corn person lacked confidence when it came to romance. For some of you, the sweet corn may also have had lows where they felt unlovable or like they did not deserve to be loved. There could have been periods where they were extremely lonely and felt so alone, as if there's no one out there for them and as if they are not meant to have and be with their other half. Like we saw earlier, the reason why their previous love experiences didn't work out could very well have been that they put up walls and hid their heart behind so many layers of protective husk. It's difficult to form true bonds when we are hidden behind masks and protective armor. This may have been their defense mechanism or a pattern of self-sabotage. However, for everyone who wants a partner, the universe will give you the perfect one. And as such, the peppermint, who does not give up easily and who is the perfect match to balance out the sweet corn, came crashing in and helped the sweet corn to break down these walls. This relationship and marriage will help the sweet corn to realize that they really are not alone. Not only do they have their beloved peppermint, they also have both people's family and friends who love and support them and their connection. These are all the messages I have for you today. I really like how this marriage journey is not just sunshine and daisies. Instead, it is so real and complete with struggles and growth, and reminds us about the logistics and importance of commitment and hard work to foster a healthy relationship. I hope you enjoyed this reading and that it helped you to gain some clarity and insight. Please remember that this is a general reading, so don't worry if not every single message was for you. Also, as always, I want to remind you that we all have the ability to shape our own destinies and futures. So please feel empowered, because if there's something you don't like in your reading, trust that you do have the power to influence or change it. Please let me know in the comments down below if things resonated for you, and please feel free to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. This reading is for those of you who picked the Midnight Flower. Thank you for joining me for your reading all about your marriage and life with your future spouse. In today's reading, we shall start by finding out about the general energy of your marriage and the blessings and challenges that are waiting for you and your future spouse. In the second half, we'll get more into detail and figure out how both you and your future spouse will be like in your marriage, including how you see the marriage, how others around you see it, what you love about your married life, what makes you feel most loved, and what lessons are meant for you through this connection. I'll begin with this one oracle card that will set the tone for the overall energy of your married life. This may be a general theme, an overarching lesson, or something that is particularly crucial in your marriage with your future spouse. You have trust with the message, I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. Trust will certainly be an important foundation upon which your relationship and marriage with your future spouse is built. To both of you, trust is something that is extremely sacred and one of the top qualities you look for in a partner. Though I do want to note that this does not mean that trust will come easily and that it will not waver as your connection evolves. There will definitely be points in time throughout your love journey where this trust between you two will be put to the test. But ultimately, both you and your person will continue to prove how much you both treasure and protect the bond of trust that you have. You'll trust each other to have your back and be there through thick and thin, and love each other even with all your flaws. As a result of this trust, your marriage will feel like an environment where both people feel secure to be their true selves and to expand your wings and explore and evolve. Another thought that comes to mind is that for those of you who picked this reading, it's very likely that either you or your future spouse may actually struggle with trust issues, which could be precisely why trust is extra important to you in a love connection. This could translate into having trouble trusting others, which can result in difficulty opening up, difficulty with intimacy in relationships, or feelings of insecurity or instability. Alternatively, perhaps for some of you, either you or your future spouse may have the mindset that if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself, which could stem from an innate belief that others cannot be trusted to do a satisfactory job. Consequently, this kind of mentality often causes the person to be spread thin and worn out. And within relationships, romantic or platonic, it can make the other party involved feel inadequate or untrustworthy. Trust issues could also pertain to the self, such that you may subconsciously feel that you cannot be trusted to form and uphold a committed romantic relationship, or maybe you often second-guess your instincts and intuition. If this is sounding like you or your person, the assurance I want to give you is that your marriage will be a great source of comfort and encouragement toward resolution of these trust issues. Starting from the first meeting with your person, many of you may find that you become uncharacteristically trusting toward them and toward the prospect of your connection. You may suddenly gain a lot of trust for the universe and feel called to listen to the divine guidance that comes your way. With your future spouse, especially during your relationship prior to marriage, there could be several times during which your trust in your own intuition will be tested. And because you will feel called to listen to your inner voice, you will receive your desired outcome, or an outcome that turns out to be even better than what you had initially hoped for. This will be proof positive for you as you begin to realize that your inner voice can and should be trusted. So for those of you who are at a point in your relationship journey during which this trust in your inner voice is being put to the test, this card is reminding you to listen to that inner wisdom and to your heart. For example, perhaps some of you could be faced with two potential love interests. While one seems like your perfect match on paper, your inner voice is pointing you toward the other. It would be good to listen to what your inner voice has to say. On this note, I do feel the need to remind you how important it is to learn to differentiate between your true inner voice and the voice of your ego or your preconceived negative patterns. So if this resonates with you, please take some time to acquaint yourself with the sound and wisdom of your inner voice so that you can recognize it and tell it apart from the misleading voice of your inner demons. I'm looking at this beautiful purple color of this card, and actually now that I think about it, both of the previous two groups also started off with oracle cards that were a variant of a shade of purple. So I'll interpret the color for this group as well. Purple is the color of spirituality and mystery and luxury. It's made up of red, which represents passion, and blue, which represents calmness and tranquility. You and your future spouse will have the best of both red passion and blue tranquility within your marriage. There will be exciting, passionate chemistry, but also you'll have a wise, spiritual, and profound connection. I was also telling Group 1 that for me personally, purple reminds me of old souls because it's the last color of the rainbow, and there's a sense of wisdom and intuition with this color. So perhaps you or your future spouse could identify as an old soul type, or maybe you two feel such a deep bond for one another because you may have had past lives together. Moving on, let's take a look at these tea leaf cards, which will tell us about some of the most important blessings and potential challenges you and your future spouse may experience within your love journey and throughout your married life. You have the candle with "You will be shown the way", the wishbone with "A wish is granted", and the ear with "Good news". There's a lot of wonderful positive energy with these cards, so your married life will really be full of beautiful high vibrations. This does not mean that everything will be easy, warm, and wonderful though. Instead, I would like to interpret this as you and your future spouse could be the type of people who tend to put more energy toward cherishing the good. Perhaps in your marriage, you have the same amount of difficult and tough times as other couples. But because of your positive mindsets, you feel so much happier and more fulfilled. With the candle here, I can see that this relationship and marriage will definitely be divinely guided because, like the message says, you will be shown the way. And I especially appreciate that the candle card came out with your trust card and also with this ear card, because together it's like the cards are saying that if you trust and listen to your inner voice, you will be shown the right way. The candle also reminds me of romantic moods and a warm, cozy ambience. So perhaps you or your future spouse may really be a sappy romantic at heart. Even if you don't like to admit it, perhaps you or they have always dreamed of finding your prince or princess and of living happily ever after. Luckily enough for you, there will absolutely be a lot of rosy romance within your relationship, marriage, and also your married life. It could be cliched candlelit dinners and flowers, or it could be something unique to the two of you. For example, maybe the first time your spouse went on a trip, they brought back the ugliest souvenir they could find for you as a joke. But the tradition continues, so every time either of you travels alone, you'll make an aim to find the most terrible-looking souvenir to bring back for each other. Others around you may not get it, but to the two of you, it's extremely romantic. Of course, this is a super specific and silly example, but you get the idea. Your married life with your future spouse will be filled with wonderful little reminders of each other's love, and romance will definitely fill the air, even if it's in the form of ugly souvenirs. I'm getting all these playful and silly images, so perhaps one of you could be a bit of a prankster or very goofy with a youthful heart or spirit. Honestly, I think the two of you will have a lot of fun together, and even the boring everyday chores will be enjoyable when you are with each other. Now moving on to the wishbone. This is a wonderful card that talks about your wish being granted. For many of you watching, this could be as simple and obvious as your or your person's wish to find their perfect partner and to experience a beautiful love. It could be a wish to find your place, to belong and to call home, to build a family with the one you love, or even another huge blessing that you may have been too afraid to ask for. Your marriage will grant you or your future spouse an important wish that is very dear to your heart, and there will be lots of good news as well. I am getting a very specific message, so this is definitely for just very few of you, but I feel the need to say that if you or your future spouse have always wanted children, but you have been struggling to have a baby, or even told that you can't or that chances are slim to none, these cards are affirming that this wish of yours will be granted. Another blessing for your married life with this card is that you and your future spouse will have lots of deep, heart-to-heart and intimate conversations, and you, them, or both of you are amazing listeners. You will feel very heard, and you'll both know when it's just time to listen to the other vent or express their feelings. The candle card makes me think of quality time, and the ear could be words of affirmation. So perhaps you or your future spouse may have quality time or words of affirmation as one of your top love languages to give or receive love. All in all, I get the feeling that you'll have a very lovely, harmonious, and fun married life with your future spouse. And even though you will have disagreements and arguments from time to time, it'll really feel like smooth sailing because you both will know and trust in your hearts that you are each other's person. I'm feeling so much warmth from this connection. You can't see, but I've been smiling dumbly this whole time. I'm really excited for you to experience this beautiful marriage. For this next part of the reading, we will get more into detail to figure out how you and your future spouse will be like in your relationship and through your married life. We'll break things down into person 1 and person 2. So please feel free to identify for yourself which person is you and which sounds more like your future spouse. And of course, if you resonate with both sides, it likely means that you and your future spouse will really mirror each other. Let's begin with an oracle card to tell us what each person's general energy is like. For the first person, we have the chili. Ooh, spicy. This card represents stimulation and has fire energy. In particular, I see Aries on this card, so this person may have a fire sign, especially Aries, as their sun, moon, rising, or Venus. This seems like an exciting person who enjoys trying new things and experiences of the senses. We'll call this person the chilly from now on, but as opposed to being chilly and cold, this person is actually very fiery. They are passionate about life and may be a bit of a thrill-seeker type. But at the same time, there is an image of a quill on this card, which gives me the sense that this chili is also smart and well-read, and maybe they are secretly a poet and very deep and thoughtful. Perhaps they have a way with words and somehow know exactly what to say and can always find the perfect words to capture the feelings in the moment. The number on this card is 18, and the digits 1 and 8 add up to 9. So perhaps this person has a life path number 9, which I always associate with the old soul type. 9 or 18 could also be an important date for this person or for your relationship. I was saying earlier that your marriage will be a lot of fun, and someone might be a bit of a jokester. This chilly person is likely the one between the two of you who is the more fun, open-minded, and who's more welcoming of change and new things. The chilly person probably has a great sense of humor and will bring a lot of spiciness and freshness and excitement into your married life. Since the chilly appreciates the senses, they may also really enjoy showing or receiving love through physical touch, and probably they're quite an amazing lover in bed. For person 2, we have the strawberry with agreement, and right away I'm noticing that there's also a quill on this card. So there's definitely some mirroring between the two of you with respect to both of you being quite intelligent, thoughtful, or insightful, and appreciative of words and poetry. Probably both of you are rather romantic at heart, though one of you may not like to admit it. The strawberry card has water energy though, and the message is about agreement. So I get the feeling that this person is the gentler and softer and more fluid one between the two of you. However, the strawberry is also red. So this suggests that while this person is agreeable and lovely, they definitely have a fiery and passionate side to them as well. I see the Libra sign here too. So this person may have a water sign of Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, or the air sign Libra as their sun, moon, rising, or Venus. The number on this card is 24, which adds to 6. 6 is a number all about harmony and balance and resolution, which fits quite well with the gentle, agreeable energy of this strawberry person. 24 may also be a significant date, or maybe even someone's age during a certain phase of the relationship, such as the first meeting, or when you began dating, or when you become committed. I really like these two cards together. They're saying that the chili finds the strawberry really sweet and adorable, while the strawberry finds the chili to be super hot and exciting. I think you two make a really cute couple. And again, there's a reiteration of the combination of red fire and blue water that make beautiful, deep, mysterious, and intuitive purple. Let's move on to our tarot cards now. We'll first find out how each person sees and feels about your marriage and about each other. So for the chili, we have the 9 of water. And for the strawberry, there is the Queen of Fire. Again, we have fire and water energy, but this time it's reversed for each person, which tells me that both people see the other as their perfect counterpart, and so the marriage gives each of you what you want and need. For the fiery chili, who is exciting and spicy and hot, their relationship and marriage to the strawberry brings the beautiful, calm, cool, and stability of the 9 of water. On the other hand, for the sweet and gentle strawberry, the marriage to the chili brings the heat and passionate flames of the Queen of Wands. If we look more in depth at each card, the 9 of water talks about happiness and satisfaction, accomplishment, and abundance. The 9 of water also represents pleasure of the senses, so this suggests that the chili's desire for satisfying the senses is quite fulfilled in their married life with the strawberry. The chili also sees the marriage as full of abundance, and water represents deep, emotional, and spiritual energy, so it's clear that the chili really values the feeling of connectedness and bonding with the strawberry. The 9 of water also talks about wish fulfillment, so again, there's another confirmation that an important wish will be granted. On the strawberry side, we have this Queen of Fire, which represents passion, sensuality, confidence, and attraction. This tells us that the strawberry feels the marriage to be full of excitement and burning fire. For some of you watching, it could be that the strawberry used to be a little unconfident or a bit of a pushover who may have trouble saying no. But this relationship journey with the chili will help the strawberry to step into this confident and powerful Queen of Fire energy. There's also a glowing heart on this queen, and this represents how the strawberry feels very deeply connected to the chili as well. If we examine the card closely, we see that this queen is holding a candle, which actually looks exactly the same as the candle from the tea leaf card. So here is yet another confirmation for the promise of romance and for trusting your inner voice to lead the way. I always appreciate when cards confirm each other like this, and there is so much interconnectedness within the cards for this reading. It sends a strong message that this connection is totally meant to be. Now then, we'll be asking about how the people around both you and your future spouse see and feel about your relationship and marriage. These people would be your family, your close friends, or your peers, as well as your person's family, friends, and peers. This could also give us some hints to how your future spouse talks about you to their family and friends, or how you talk about them to yours. For the chili, we have the moon, and for the strawberry, there is the Ace of Air. As you may know, the moon is a card that I connect very deeply to, and it talks about intuition, insight, delving within, and things unseen. The chili's close circle see the strawberry as someone who is full of inner wisdom and quiet confidence. For many of you watching, it's likely that the chili's family and friends recognize that the strawberry is someone who sees beyond the chili's surface and who understands and accepts the chili's shadow self. As a result, they see the strawberry as the chili's inspiration and encouragement to delve within, to do the shadow work needed to continue to evolve and grow as a person. For this deck in particular, the image on this card reminds me of the goddess of the moon. So for many of you, it could be that when the chili talks to their close circle about the strawberry, they paint the strawberry as someone so beautiful, ethereal, and divine, graceful, patient, and full of insightful wisdom and spiritual connectedness. The moon is also the Pisces card, so for some of you, it could be that the chili's family and friends see the strawberry as person with strong Pisces energy. Pisces is compassionate, deep, dreamy, sweet, and capable of unconditional love. The chili's close circle really love and appreciate the strawberry, and they feel a lot of comfort and assurance knowing that the chili is in such kind and gentle hands. On the other side, the strawberry's family and friends see the chili as the Ace of Air. This card represents clarity and victory, as well as being open and honest and cutting away things that no longer serve us. From this card, I get the feeling that for many of you who picked this reading, the strawberry is probably quite protected and cherished by their family and friends. Maybe the strawberry is an only child or the baby of the family, or maybe they are the only girl or boy among the children. It could also be that the strawberry has a very strong and deep bond with their loved ones who really dote on them. Especially since the strawberry is so gentle and sweet, it makes their family and friends want to protect them even more. The strawberry's close circle may see the strawberry as innocent or pure and may often worry that the strawberry will be hurt or taken advantage of, and that's probably why they tend to be overprotective of the strawberry, and they may not easily acknowledge and accept suitors that want the strawberry's affection. With that said though, The strawberry's family and friends really like and respect the chili and feel that their precious strawberry is safe in the chili's hands. They think the chili is strong, steadfast, and dependable and honest. They believe the chili will be decisive and no nonsense when it comes to protecting the strawberry's well-being, and they trust that the chili has the strawberry's best interests at heart. There is a Pegasus on this ace of air, and the Pegasus represents freedom and flying to new heights. For me personally, the Pegasus is a guardian and protector, and it is a reliable companion who will never let you down. This is exactly how the strawberry's family and friends see the chili. They know the chili will keep the strawberry safe, and they believe the chili can also inspire the strawberry to fly and soar and become more confident and decisive and learn to say no and cut away from things that are not authentic to them. There may be some resistance at first from the strawberry's family and friends, but once they get to know the chili, they really will love the chili and find the chili to be the perfect partner for the strawberry. Overall, it does look like both people's family and friends will be supportive of the relationship and marriage. Now with these next cards, we'll find out what each of you loves the most about your relationship, your marriage, and life together. For the chili, we have Fortune's Wheel, and for the strawberry, there is the Messenger of Air. First of all, I get such a strong feeling from the wheel card that the chili thinks they are so incredibly fortunate to have found the strawberry and to be able to have the strawberry as their spouse and partner in life. The chili sees the strawberry as such a beautiful, magical creature, and the chili probably sometimes wonders what great things they have done in their previous lives to have the positive karma to receive this wonderful strawberry as their person. Fortune's wheel represents destiny, transformation, abundance, and cycles. It is also the number 10, which represents completion and achievement. 10 is made up of 1 and 0. 0 represents infinite possibilities, and 1 represents new beginnings, creation, and manifestation. I do get the sense that what the chili loves most about this marriage and relationship is how they feel like this is exactly where they are meant to be. The chili loves that your married life is filled with new and exciting things and abundance. The chili loves every moment, every phase of your relationship and marriage, as you two cycle through the good times and the difficult times, the ups and the downs. There's also a strong sense of destiny with this connection. And it doesn't matter if the chili believed in destiny beforehand or not, because either way, the chili absolutely feels the red string of fate very strongly with the strawberry. The two of you will be rich in wealth, health, happiness, abundance, and love, and the chili really treasures every moment with the strawberry. And like I said earlier, even doing mundane, everyday chores is enjoyable and fun when you two are together, and the chili sees this marriage and the strawberry as such blessings and as a complete wish come true. For the strawberry, the messenger of air, which is the equivalent to the Knight of Swords in traditional tarot, represents determination, bravery, and decisiveness. We saw before that the strawberry is quite agreeable and is probably someone who goes with the flow and who may not always have the confidence to stand up against opposition, to say no, or to voice their opinions. Perhaps the strawberry is also the one who has more trouble listening to and trusting their inner voice. However, this connection and marriage with the chili is an important experience and a crucial source that nourishes and grows the strawberry's courage. The strawberry loves that there's a feeling of being safe to follow their heart and to express themselves the way they want to. and they have no fear or doubt that the chili will continue to love them for who they truly are. This card also represents the knight in shining armor who rushes in without a second thought to defend and protect the one they love. And I think this hot-headedness and fearlessness fits our chili quite well. So I'm interpreting this as the strawberry feeling very loved, that the chili is always looking out for them and will never hesitate to protect and defend them. Perhaps the chili being sometimes a bit hot-headed is seen as a flaw, but the strawberry finds it pretty darn adorable. The strawberry sees and appreciates it as a sign of the chili's honest and straightforward personality, and this honesty could be a part of what makes the strawberry feel so comfortable to trust the chili. In traditional tarot, the Knight of Swords is depicted as strong, determined, and even a little harsh or overbearing, but I don't get that kind of energy at all from this card. There's a gentle, knowing expression on this messenger of air, which reflects the chili's soft and gentle side. It is this tender love and care from the chili that the strawberry really loves. It's almost as if this messenger of air is the human version of our Pegasus, and the strawberry loves that the chili and this marriage make them feel safe and protected. Finally, these last two tarot cards will tell us what makes each person feel the most loved within the relationship and marriage. For the chili, we have the Two of Earth, and for the strawberry, there is the Seven of Fire. The Two of Earth talks about balancing and juggling priorities and adapting to change. If we look at the image on this card, we see this person holding two pentacles, but one is clearly held up higher than the other. This could be saying that the chili feels most loved when they are prioritized in the relationship and in the marriage. It's possible that perhaps the strawberry could be quite busy. It may be with work or hobbies, or perhaps everyone just wants a piece of the strawberry's attention. However, the strawberry makes the chili feel most loved because no matter what is going on, the strawberry always makes the chili a top priority. Even if life and everything else tries to get in the way, the strawberry never fails to show the chili that they will always be number one. As well, the Two of Earth is about balance, which indicates that another thing that could make the chili feel loved in the marriage is the fact that both parties are contributing equally. This does not mean an exact split down the middle when it comes to dividing chores or investing into the relationship. Instead, this balance I speak of is how each person feels they are giving and receiving love in just the right amount to meet their own needs and each other's needs. For a lot of you watching, I get the sense that the chili is quite a giver and enjoys being the provider or nurturer because it makes the chili feel useful and valuable. So in this respect, the chili feels loved when the strawberry is willing and comfortable to receive their love. The chili understands that each person is different and brings different things to the table. For example, we saw earlier that within this marriage dynamic, the chili is probably the more exciting, fun, or decisive one, while the strawberry is the softer, gentler, and more intuitive one. Each spouse gives something and receives something different from the marriage and from one another, and the fact that the chili and the strawberry balance each other out and coexist in this harmony makes the chili feel at peace and valued within the relationship. For the strawberry, the Seven of Fire talks about standing your ground, taking a stand, and defending the ones you love and the things you believe in. It's about having courage to accept challenges and not backing down in face of adversity. This could be referring to how the strawberry feels very protected by the chili. It's probably in the strawberry's nature to be agreeable and to avoid conflict, even if it goes against what the strawberry actually wants in their best interest. However, the chili always stands up for the strawberry and encourages the strawberry to do the same. The chili wants to fight and defend for the strawberry's happiness, peace, and dreams, and this gives the strawberry a strong sense of safety and being well taken care of. Similarly, I think this is also indicating how the strawberry appreciates that the chili inspires them to step into this energy, to stand up for what they believe in, and to defend and protect the chili as well. Just like how the strawberry sees the chili as their Pegasus and protector, the strawberry feels empowered to be a similar horse-type guardian for the chili. However, the strawberry is coming through as this unicorn, which represents purity, magic, and uniqueness. We saw from the Fortune's Wheel, the chili thinks they are so lucky to have found the strawberry, and the chili adores and cherishes the strawberry so much. This makes the strawberry feel very special and valued and extremely loved. The chili probably is not shy to make sure the strawberry knows how extraordinary and wonderful and desirable they are. And finally, to finish this reading, we have some oracle cards to give us insight into what your marriage will help you and your future spouse to learn and how it will help you to grow. For the chili, we have the relationship card with the message, I am attracted to those people who serve my higher good. And for the strawberry, we have love. Wow, that's wonderful. If I haven't made it clear enough that there's so much genuine love and divine guidance for this marriage, these cards literally spell it out in bold letters. Also, I want to say that for this group in particular, these two cards can apply to both the chili and the strawberry. For the love card, the message is, I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. And this ability to see the good in everything is probably something the chili really adores about the sweet and pure-hearted strawberry. Perhaps prior to meeting the strawberry, the chili was turning jaded and becoming used to the world being full of people who do not have the kindest of intentions. But when the strawberry comes along, it really restores the chili's faith in humanity and adds so much vibrant color and loving energy to the chili's perspective on life. In turn, the connection, relationship, and marriage with the chili helps the strawberry to feel safe enough to trust and to open their heart fully to give and receive love. The relationship card is another confirmation that you and your future spouse were meant to be. This relationship and marriage was written in the stars for you, and this is why there was so much guidance showing you the way toward each other. For those of you who have yet to find your person, I have the feeling that you will be given a lot of signs when you're close or on the right path toward them. So definitely keep your eyes and your heart open to notice and to receive these signs. And coming back to the trust card, for those of you who need to hear this right now, if you are in a low point in romance and feeling down on your luck or even losing hope for finding the one meant for you, do have trust in the universe. Because if you lose this trust that your person is out there for you, even if the signs literally hit you in the face, you can often still be blind to them. The message on this relationship card also talks about attraction, so I am sure that there will be such strong magnetism and explosive chemistry between the two of you, and you will be drawn toward each other, so I don't think it's possible for you to pass each other by without noticing. As well, the final advice is for those of you whose trust in your inner voice is being tested. Listen to that inner voice as it knows and recognizes who this person is that will serve your highest good and bring you so much happiness and love. Don't tell the other groups, but so far this is my favorite reading, and I am feeling such warm and fuzzy feelings from this energy of your beautiful connection and marriage. Those are all the messages I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed your reading as much as I did, and I hope that it helped you to gain some clarity and insight on your love journey and what your marriage with your future spouse has in store for you. Please remember this is a general reading, so don't fret if not every single message was for you. Also, as always, I want to remind you that we all have the ability to shape our own paths. So please feel empowered, because if there is something you don't like in your reading, trust that you do have the power to influence and change it. Please let me know in the comments below if things resonated for you, and feel free to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. This reading is for those of you who chose the cotton candy flower. Thank you for joining me for your reading all about your marriage and life with your future spouse. We shall begin with finding out about the general energy of your marriage and the blessings and possible challenges that are waiting for you and your future spouse. Then in the second half, we will get into more detail and find out how both you and your future spouse will be like in your marriage, including how you see the marriage, how others around you see it, what you love about your married life, what makes you feel most loved, and what lessons are meant for you through this connection. Let's start with this one oracle card that will tell us about the overall energy of your married life. This could be a general theme, an overarching lesson, or an idea that is very important within your connection and marriage to your future spouse. You have peace with the message, I am a being of love and I release all negative energy. There is such a lovely feel from this card, and immediately so many wonderful messages are coming to mind. Firstly, this card is telling us that for you and your future spouse, your marriage will be a peaceful, safe space for both of you to be yourselves, to be loved for who you are, and to be in harmony with yourself and with one another. I'm getting very strong soulmate energy from this card, because when we find the one we are destined to be with, everything will feel simply so natural and flow so easily and smoothly. There will be a deep sense of comfort and peace between you and your person as your relationship builds, and actually for a lot of you, you'll be able to feel this comfort from your first meeting as if you've spent lifetimes together. Even if you or your future spouse is the type that doesn't get close to others easily, or the kind of person who tends to take a while to warm up to new people, with each other it will feel so easy to become close and vulnerable and intimate. For the two of you, your temperaments fit together well, so you'll notice that you rarely get into fights. Of course, this doesn't mean you agree and have the same opinions on everything, but when there is a difference in opinion, instead of pitting you two against each other, you actually value each other even more for contributing a different perspective to the table, and thereby expanding both people's horizons. When you do have conflict come up, you will both instinctively aim for peace instead of victory, so disagreements are usually resolved quickly before they fester and turn into problems. Both of you are probably quite willing to compromise, meet in the middle, and work together as partners through any difficulty that can try to test your relationship and marriage. For the majority of you watching, perhaps you, your future spouse, or both of you are empaths or very gentle by nature. I can tell that both of you just want the very best for each other, and you treasure each other so much. I'm actually getting a little emotional right now. There is a lot of sweet, kind and gentle love between you two. Some people want power, some people want money, some want fame. But at the end of the day, both of you just want peace and to share this peace with each other. People who want peace are really very wise and worldly. So perhaps you or your person could be rather spiritual or tuned in with your higher purpose in life. I do get a strong feeling that your relationship and marriage will create a place where both your hearts will feel protected and sheltered. The world outside could be much too fast-paced, merciless, chaotic, or exhausting, but you and your person both know you can come home to each other, and you are each other's little piece of heaven. When you hold each other, you can just feel all your worries and troubles melt away, and you can almost see the tension lift from your bodies. Also, I'm noticing in this image that the inner pattern is made up of all these triangles. The triangle is the simplest polygon, but it is also the strongest. That's why the triangle is so loved and respected in architecture for creating structures that withstand time through whatever weather the heavens may throw down. This is the foundation and essence of your marriage. Your bond and connection with each other will withstand the test of time and will withstand whatever storms that may blow your way. And speaking of storms, this message of peace is making me think of the calm after the storm, which means for a few of you watching, it could be that you or your future spouse will have to go through some difficult lessons before you are able to find each other or to get together. This could also mean that your relationship may have its fair share of ups and downs before you're able to grow, evolve, and finally unite in marriage. If this is you, do not be scared, because whatever challenges come our way are meant to help us learn the lessons that we need to learn, and the universe will only give the toughest challenges to those it knows can handle them. In fact, it is the bitter moments that teach us how to cherish and appreciate the sweet, and this card wants to assure you that this beautiful peace is waiting for you in your marriage with your soulmate. So for those of you who need to hear this right now, maybe you're struggling through a low point in life or in love, but be at ease that your married life will be your calm after the storm. Next, let's take a look at these tea leaf cards, which will tell us about some of the important blessings and challenges you and your future spouse may experience together. You have the carriage with a journey, either physical or mental. The jug with light-hearted, carefree time. And the tulip with great passion. These tea leaves resonate really perfectly with the messages we were getting from the peace card. And of course, we love when cards confirm each other in a reading. First, with the carriage here. You and your future spouse will be going on a journey together. This journey could be one with challenges and lessons that must be learned. However, the point of the journey is evolution and to transform you, your person, or both people into whom you have always aspired to be. Like I was saying earlier, some of you who picked this reading may currently be going through some tough times with love. For example, perhaps you met someone and they are absolutely the perfect partner for you. They seem to check off every box on your list for what you want in a spouse, and there is such amazing chemistry and connection. But you realize that they or you are not emotionally available. Maybe you are ready to settle down and they are not. Maybe you have yet to face your emotional baggage and past patterns are blocking you from reaching out and grasping the happiness that seems to just slip through your fingers. I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but I get the feeling that a few of you really need to hear this right now. The right person at the wrong time is still not the right person, and what is meant to be yours cannot pass you by. All the challenges coming your way are part of your journey, and on your journey with your future spouse through your relationship into marriage and into married life together, you will have the protection of this carriage. And the protection of this carriage is divine guidance. Another message that is coming through strongly with this carriage card is the idea that you and your future spouse will really enjoy each other's company. It's like how when you travel by foot, by car, or train or plane, whatever it may be, time just flies when you're traveling with someone whose company you enjoy. So in your married life together, every day will be fun and enjoyable because you and your person really love just being together and truly enjoy each other's company. Of course, with the carriage bringing messages of travel, it could also be suggesting that you and your future spouse will do some traveling together, or that you will enjoy going to see the wonders of the world with each other. For a few of you, this could also mean that you and your person will move to a new place to start your life together. Now onto the jug, speaking about a lighthearted, carefree time, I'm reminded of the feelings of peace and flow and ease and comfort that we saw from your peace card. Perhaps you and your future spouse will be adorable and goofy together, and the energy between you two will be playful and fun. I'm picturing the two of you enjoying life's simple pleasures and being silly like little kids. For example, maybe when it's raining hard outside, they would grab your hand and you two will run through the rain, giggling like children playing hooky. And with the great passion of this tulip card, there will certainly be so much chemistry and love and fire in your relationship and marriage. So maybe after playing in the rain, you'll share a passionate kiss and then go back inside to get cozy and steamy together. And no matter how old you grow together, there will always be this lightheartedness and passionate spark. So far, I'm really loving what we're seeing for your connection and married life with your future spouse. I also especially appreciate that you will likely have to journey through some challenges and storms before you two can reach this peace and passion, because this tells me that both people will be wiser, will know to be grateful, and will really treasure and appreciate each other and how far you've come. Now that we have a general idea of your marriage, let's get more into detail and see how you and your future spouse will be like in your relationship and into your married life. For this part of the reading, we will break things down into person 1 and person 2. Please feel free to identify for yourself which person is you and which is your future spouse. And of course, if you resonate with both sides, it likely means that you and your future spouse will be strongly mirroring each other. We will begin with an oracle card to tell us what each person's general energy will be like within your connection and marriage. For person 1, we have the geranium with healing. This card has air energy, so this person may have Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius as their sun, moon, rising, or Venus. There is also the Aries sign on this card, so while this person could have a lot of wise, calm, logical air energy, they also have a passionate and bold and fiery side. From now on, I will be referring to this person as the geranium. This person could also be seen by others as a healer of sorts. This could mean they work in healthcare as a doctor or nurse, a therapist, or it could be that they are quite wise, connected, or spiritual, so they're the one that everyone tends to turn to for advice. Perhaps this geranium person has a healing energy about them. Like the one example I gave earlier, it could be that when the geranium person holds you in their arms, you feel all your troubles and worries just melt away and your pains will start to heal. This card is number 37. 3 and 7 add up to 11, and 11 always makes me think of twin flames or soulmates, whichever you believe in. This could be further confirming the divine guidance for this relationship in marriage. In the language of flowers, geraniums symbolize love, happiness, peace, and health and friendship. These qualities will be how this geranium person will be like within the marriage. Not only will you and your future spouse be lovers, you will be dear friends. This is why you two will enjoy each other's company so much, because on top of loving each other romantically, you also really like each other as people. Person 2 is coming through as the Snapdragon with purification. This person is also represented by air energy. With all the peaceful energy that we saw in your marriage, I think it makes a lot of sense that both of you have this lovely air energy that is all calm and clear. This Snapdragon person could also have an air sign, especially Gemini, for their sun, moon, rising, or Venus. Gemini is the twins, so for just a few of you watching, this Snapdragon person could be a twin, or sometimes this could be referring to twin flames or soulmates. I do want to point out that the geranium also had the message of twin flames and soulmates with the number 11, so I believe both of you will be able to recognize that you are each other's twin flame or soulmate. Personality-wise, this Snapdragon person may be someone quite pure of heart, someone who is innately kind and innocent, and for a few of you watching, the purity could even mean that the Snapdragon has had very little experience in romance, in physical love, and intimacy prior to meeting the geranium. Gemini is also tied to the Lover's card in tarot, so perhaps something is awakened in the Snapdragon through meeting the geranium, and thus the Snapdragon experiences a sensual transformation of passion, sparks, and fire, but also full of pure, beautiful love. I noticed that purification is quite similar to healing, and both the Snapdragon and the geranium have what look like healing potions drawn on their cards. So you two are mirroring each other very strongly in this respect. While the Snapdragon feels healed and revived by the geranium feels equally purified and replenished by the Snapdragon. The number on this card is 41, which adds up to 5. 5 is about change and challenge and transformation. So perhaps the Snapdragon could be the one in the relationship who is more open and adaptable toward change, or this could mean that they are the one more in need of change and evolution. For me personally, the name Snapdragon makes me think of a dragon that is guarding its treasure, like the image on the 4 of Pentacles in the Shadowscapes tarot deck. In this respect, the treasure the Snapdragon is guarding could be the relationship, the marriage, or the geranium person, which means the Snapdragon could be a protector type who will fight fiercely to defend the one they love, their home, and the life they have created together. Also, from the idea of a dragon guarding its treasure, I get the sense that for some of you watching, this Snapdragon person could also be a little bit cutely possessive of the geranium. Not in an unhealthy, toxic way that smothers the geranium, but in an adorable way that makes the geranium feel very cherished and loved, I think. For example, maybe the two of you are walking down the street together, and the geranium person could be getting a lot of desirous looks from other people. The Snapdragon might take notice right away and put a hand on the geranium's arm or waist to make it clear to everyone that this geranium is theirs. One thing I do want to note, though, is that both people are coming through with a lot of air energy, which represents mind, thoughts, and also the ego. It could be indicating that for a majority of you watching, you, your future spouse, or maybe even both of you, could be susceptible to falling victim to overthinking, to being caught up in your head when it comes to love, and letting your ego put up protective armor or other defense mechanisms that could get in the way if you're not careful. Let's now take a look at some tarot cards. First, we shall find out how each person sees and feels about your marriage and about each other. For the geranium, we have the Six of Air. And for the snapdragon, there is the King of Fire. The Six of Air, which is the equivalent to the Six of Swords in traditional tarot, is about passage away from difficulty, transition into security, and solutions and recovery. The imagery of the Six of Air in this deck in particular always makes me think of smooth sailing. This could be another confirmation of the previous message of peace and taking a journey. For the geranium person, your marriage is this safe haven, the calm after the storm. Perhaps the geranium is the one out of the two of you who had a more significantly difficult journey prior to your meeting or union. For some of you who chose this reading, these difficulties could be in love, such that perhaps they were hurt or betrayed or deeply disappointed in previous romantic experiences. Maybe the geranium even half gave up on finding love before meeting the snapdragon. However, the attraction and bond and relationship are so wonderful, beautiful, and magical between you two. So in the geranium's eyes, this marriage is the reward for enduring through all the difficult lessons they had to go through before. The geranium feels so much stability, peace, and resolution in the relationship, and cherishes that everyday married life together with the snapdragon is so natural and easy, like smooth sailing. The geranium may also have had trouble with feeling safe in romantic relationships before, but in this connection, they are so secure and find it easy to let go and release previous burdens that were hindering their growth. And since air energy is also about the mind, thoughts, and the ego, for a few of you watching, this could mean that the struggles the geranium person had to go through could have involved their own ego, mind, or identity. But in the relationship and marriage, they do feel seen and loved by the snapdragon for who they are, and know intrinsically that the snapdragon will never have any intention to hurt them. So the geranium finds it easy to find peace within the ego, to let their walls down, and to let love in. For the snapdragon, we have the King of Fire, which represents passion, confidence, creation, and maturity. There's also a lot of attraction, love, and sensual energy in this card as well. And we can see a glowing heart on his chest and the sun radiating behind his head. Looking closely, I also noticed the faint image of a butterfly on this wise king's face, and butterflies represent metamorphosis and transformation. I think this confirms perfectly the messages we were getting from the Snapdragon card about how this relationship journey and marriage helps to awaken the love, passion, and desire for intimacy within the Snapdragon. This allows the Snapdragon to evolve and mature and gain insight, wisdom, and experience in both love and life. The Snapdragon sees this marriage as such a fulfilling source of affection, connection, and empowerment, and the confidence they feel in the relationship and marriage is just as strong as the sense of security the geranium feels. Although we saw earlier that you and your future spouse will be so peaceful and carefree like children when you're together, the Snapdragon also loves the geranium in a mature and wise way. though perhaps it is exactly this maturity and wisdom that allows you two to know how to go back to the common, simple, beautiful ways and be guileless and unguarded like children around each other. The feelings in this card are quite complex, so I hope I've done an acceptable job at putting them into words. All in all, the Snapdragon treasures this marriage dearly and feels so much passion and love for the geranium. This love is wise and mature, but at the same time childlike, innocent, and exciting. The Snapdragon feels transformed by the connection, but also transformative within the connection. There is quiet confidence, but also fiery attraction and chemistry. What a beautiful energy. I am honestly a bit overwhelmed by it, in a good way. Maybe the Snapdragon person doesn't even realize it, but they are very deep and capable of profound, powerful love. Moving on then, let's find out how those around each person will see and feel about the marriage. These would be your family, your close friends, and your peers, as well as your future spouse's family, friends, and peers. This could also give us some clues regarding how your future spouse talks about you to their family and friends, and how you will talk about them to yours. For the geranium, we have the messenger of water, and for the Snapdragon, there is the messenger of fire. Wow, I'm getting the strong feeling that the close circle of both people see you two as divine counterparts, and they all think that you two fit together really well. Perhaps you are similar, but also quite different, though the differences are complementary and not conflicting. The messenger of water is the equivalent of the Knight of Cups in traditional tarot. This knight is charming, loving, emotional, faithful, and also adoring. This card represents an honest and enduring love offer and reminds me of someone who wears their heart on their sleeve. The geranium's family and friends see the Snapdragon as this sweet, loving person and as a wonderful partner for the geranium. The Knight of Cups is a slower moving knight, and the energy is flowing and gentle yet strong like water. This is saying that the geranium's close circle see the Snapdragon as a gentle, intuitive force that helps to guide, recharge, and inspire the geranium to see the beauty in life and in love. On the other side, the messenger of fire is the equivalent of the Knight of Wands in traditional tarot. This knight is passionate, daring, exciting, and isn't afraid to take action to go after what he wants. The Snapdragon's family and friends see the geranium as this kind of powerful, forward-moving person. They see the geranium as a great fit for the Snapdragon because they think this energy can help to inspire and ignite the Snapdragon to see, explore, create, and expand. There is also a lot of sexual chemistry in this card, so perhaps the Snapdragon has confided in their closest friends about the strong sense of attraction toward the geranium. Maybe the Snapdragon also has confessed that the physical and intimate connection with the geranium is very powerful and mind-blowing. The Snapdragon's close circle appreciates that meeting and being with the geranium was a catalyst in the Snapdragon's transformation, growth, and maturation. They see that through this relationship journey, the Snapdragon has gained confidence, motivation, and a new fire for love and life. Overall, there is quite a sense of approval and positive energy for your relationship and marriage from both sides. With these next cards, we'll find out what each of you loves the most about your marriage and about one another. For the geranium, we have the Patience card, and for the Snapdragon, we have the World card. First of all, these are both major arcana cards, so it's quite evident that for both people, this marriage is incredibly important and cherished. The Patience card is the Temperance card, and it represents balance, healing, moderation, and harmony. The first message that comes to mind immediately is good things come to those who wait. The geranium deeply appreciates that this marriage is like the reward for them after they survived and endured and did not give up through all the challenges that came their way. The number 14 on this card is the mirror of the 41 of the Snapdragon card. So for a lot of you watching, this could mean that the geranium really loves how they and the Snapdragon are such perfect counterparts. The geranium is so grateful for meeting the Snapdragon and for being allowed to love this wonderful love with their soulmate. The geranium treasures the harmony and equilibrium, balance, and peace within the marriage. Like we mentioned before, the numbers 1 and 4 add up to 5, which is the number that represents change and challenges. I am interpreting this as the geranium coming to terms with and learning to be grateful for all the challenges that they were faced with, because these challenges were what led the way toward the Snapdragon. If it hadn't been for these previous difficulties and lessons, the geranium may not have been in the right place at the right time for everything to turn out like this. As well, the geranium appreciates the changes to their life that came together with the Snapdragon. From meeting to relationship to married life, the geranium is grateful for all the change that each stage of this union has brought. The geranium is also grateful for the changes that occurred within their self as they evolved and grew together with the Snapdragon. The World card represents what the Snapdragon loves the most about the marriage and about married life with the geranium. The World represents completion, peace of mind, balance, and union. The World is the last card in the Major Arcana, and it represents the final destination of the soul's journey. The Snapdragon is very grateful for how the relationship and marriage with the geranium has helped them to grow and gain a deeper understanding of their role in life within the universe. The Snapdragon loves that their world has become so broadened and expanded since meeting the geranium. The Snapdragon feels so much fulfillment and peace. Again, there's a lot of wisdom from experience in this card. And like what we saw earlier with the King of Fire, the Snapdragon cherishes all the progress they have made in terms of inner growth as well as evolution together alongside their soulmate. The World card can also represent travel, which fits well with our carriage tea leaf from earlier about going on a journey. This could indicate that the Snapdragon loves that they can travel and see the wonders of the world with the geranium by their side. Or for the most of you, this travel represents the expansion of the Snapdragon's horizons and how their perspective on life will become broadened. Perhaps the Snapdragon never even imagined they could be worthy or capable of such powerful, deep, expansive love. But this relationship and marriage with the geranium has proven time and time again that they are indeed worthy and capable. Our last two tarot cards here will tell us what makes each person feel the most loved within the marriage and by each other. For the geranium, we have the King of Water, and for the Snapdragon, there is the Page of Water. Firstly, both of these are water court cards. Water represents love and a deep emotional and even spiritual connection. In this respect, the geranium and the Snapdragon feel a great sense of profound fulfillment from each other's love. You also both feel genuinely loved by each other through this deep emotional bond. It could be that you two are the couple that can communicate without words. You are on the same wavelength and seem to innately feel what the other is feeling. In this case, you two are very similar. However, the King of Water is mature, wise, understanding, generous and he cares for and protects those he loves. There is a strong provider and giver energy from this card. On the other hand, the Page of Water is innocent, carefree, inspired, and a romantic at heart. And coming out together with the King, this card represents being cared for and loved. In this case, I feel that these two cards could very well be interchangeable between the Geranium and the Snapdragon, because the idea is that there's a perfect balance of giving and receiving between the two people. In love relationships, we all feel love from both giving to our lover and receiving from them. Each person has their own sweet spot for the perfect ratio of giving and receiving. In this case, the Geranium and the Snapdragon's ratios complement each other. One of you may be more of the provider type, and you feel a lot of love through giving and feeling like you can create fulfillment and satisfaction for your person. The other of you may feel more love by receiving, especially if you have had trouble with receiving love and warmth from others in the past. Of course, this absolutely does not mean that the one person only gives and the other only receives. Each contributes something different to the other, and the point of the King and Page coming out together is to emphasize that because the giving and receiving is so complementary between you two, everything is effortless and natural, and both people feel so loved by the other. These cards also indicate that perhaps the Geranium feels particularly loved because the Snapdragon trusts them and relies on them, and the Snapdragon feels particularly loved because they find the connection safe enough to let their walls down and just be. Again, with all this water energy, there is a strong yet gentle, beautiful connection between the two of you. And finally, before we end your reading, we have these two oracle cards to give us some insight into what your marriage will help you and your future spouse to learn and how it will help you to grow. To be honest, I think we already covered a lot of lessons meant for each person throughout your journey so far. So I suppose these cards will highlight some other important lessons that we may not have yet explicitly addressed. For the Geranium, we have self-esteem with the message, I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. And the Snapdragon has the Pride card with the message, I love myself and I see myself in everyone. It's interesting, both these themes are related to the ego, and this matches well with how both the Geranium and Snapdragon started off with all this air energy, which represents the mind, thoughts, and ego. For the Geranium person, the message about providing benefit for the self and others is reminiscent of the provider type energy of the King of Water. So it could be that for the Geranium, being able to help others and being able to give to their lover and partner is something that really contributes to their sense of self-worth. Perhaps all the difficult challenges the Geranium had to endure before really tore away at their self-esteem. And so the relationship journey and marriage with the Snapdragon will be what helps the Geranium to regain and rebuild it. On the other hand, for the Snapdragon, there are two distinct ways I can interpret this Pride card. For some of you watching, this Pride could indicate that the Snapdragon is meant to learn to build a healthy sense of pride and love for the self. Like we saw before, the Snapdragon will develop confidence throughout this love journey, and with this confidence, they will become better at valuing themselves and will recognize just how strong and how impactful their love can be. For a few of you, though, this Pride card talks about the negative pride that you will need to learn to put down. One example that comes to mind is if you have a disagreement with your partner, regardless of who was in the wrong, perhaps your heart really wants to apologize or to forgive, but your ego and pride may get in the way and delay that process. And once you learn to let go of this unproductive pride, you will be able to find the peace that was meant for you within your inner self and be able to enjoy the peace meant for you and your future spouse throughout your relationship and marriage. Those are all the messages I have for you today. There were some profound and complex energies in this reading, and I hope that this has been helpful for you in gaining some clarity and insight on your marriage journey with your future spouse. Please remember this is a general reading, so don't worry if not every single message was for you. Also, as always, I want to remind you that we all have the power to shape our own futures. So please feel empowered, because if there is something you don't like in your reading, trust that you do have the power to influence and change it. Please let me know in the comments below if things resonated for you, and feel free to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.